Here.
Casey.
Here.
Rick.
Here.
Allison.
Here.
Nick.
Here.
Gabe.
Here.
Braden.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda is approved. The first thing on our agenda is often the highlight of the evening. It's our student and staff recognition. So I'll turn it over to Lori Hammond for this portion.
All right. We have another wonderful group of students and staff that we're going to recognize for February tonight. Thank you all for coming. We're going to start out with Nana Hinson. She's our elementary student of the month. You want to come on over here? And Nana was nominated by Mrs. Rubel, and she will come up and read the nomination.
Or should I go
over here.
No, you're good. Right here.
Okay, so Nana, I said she's always doing what is expected, even when nobody's looking. She's a kind student, always works hard, has a great attitude, does her best. She's a great peer buddy and a great role model to kids in the class. She's a kind partner to whoever she's with, and also does things without being asked. So thank you, Nana.
All right, next we're going to have our middle school student of the month, and that's Charles Davison. If you want to come on up. No relation to Mr. Davison.
I love saying the name. We gotta talk.
Good last name.
Yeah, good last name. And Aaron Bohr nominated Charles.
So for Charles, I wrote down Charles is a dedicated student, always puts his best foot forward in class. He's a self-starter and takes an active part in his education. He is always looking for ways to improve, and he models good character because he has shown that he can be trusted. I often have him take direction and complete work independently while I work with the students that need more guidance in our strats class, and he always does what's expected of him. As a result, I sometimes pull him for Clipper learning time, homeroom, and other things where he could otherwise maybe be working on some of his schoolwork or have free time with his peers, but despite this, he never complains, always has a good attitude. He's a great citizen in class, treats everyone with respect, kid of a lot of talents, and chief among those, and I think I can speak for all the teachers that he works with, he's an excellent baker, makes the greatest Christmas cookies. Every time the holiday comes up, I'm like, oh boy, what am I going to get from Charles? So very nice, a bright future ahead of him, and really happy to work with him.
Awesome.
All right, now I'm going to invite up Marissa Moore, and she is going to talk about our wonderful high school newspaper staff. And we have an award for each one of you as you come up.
So I'm just going to start with who the people are. So Lily Nandel is our editor-in-chief. Ella Steinman is our editing lead. Julietta Ortiz is the writing lead, and Olivia Fuller is our graphic design lead. So throughout a teacher's career, there are whole classes, groups of students, and even individuals who leave lasting impressions. In the fall of 2022, I took over the newspaper staff. In between our very first class and this exact moment, everyone has shown just tremendous growth. And so growth is at the center of what I'm going to share today, and it's at the center of every conversation we have, whether it is growth for year after year, issue after issue, article after article, or design after design. These four senior leaders are a living, breathing example of that growth. So, Olivia, you are the joy of our staff, and your growth is something that I have loved watching bloom. When you made the switch from writing to designing, I knew that we were all going to benefit immensely. In your role as graphic design lead, you have done an incredible job bringing the vision of the anchor to life with a level of creativity and precision that I believe truly sets us apart. Thank you for making our staff a little bit brighter. Julietta, you are my quiet thinker and our voice of reason. The growth that you have shown in your writing is truly amazing, and when I think about you and your role on the staff, the word that I kept coming back to was integrity. You research with integrity, you interview with integrity, you write with integrity, and even more importantly, you live your life with integrity. I also told them I wouldn't cry, but that's a lie because I cry every day at school. Thank you for being your authentic self. Thank you for everything that you do and every article that you write. Ella, and I asked permission if I could say this, but you are our slay queen and silly goose. Your growth in planning, organization, and of course editing is unmatched. There is nothing better than watching a member of the staff read your edits and your suggestions and then smile. Your ability to deliver kind and constructive criticism is a true gift. The relationship that you have built with the people on our staff is the thing that holds us together and keeps us moving forward. Thank you for being the keeper of our calendar, our deadlines, and our chaos. We would be lost without you. And Lily, you are my right-hand woman. Your growth in the area of leadership and feedback is inspiring to me. I've loved watching you share holistic feedback in front of the entire class. And for anyone that knows Lily, that is a really big deal and a big step in her journey. But what I've loved the most is the care, time, and attention you give to each individual student on our newspaper staff. From the creation of the website to mentoring younger students and everything in between, your hard work and dedication and love for the Anchor doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you, all of you.
Lily, we'll get a picture here after we get everybody. Ella? Julietta? There you go. We'll get a picture here in just a little bit.
All right, now we're going to move on to our staff of the month, and we're going to start with Alex Kalina from North Bend Elementary, and Principal Brenda Parker has some nice things to say.
All right, Nurse Alex. What I'm going to say here is echoed by everybody in our building because I hear over and over and over how amazing Alex does, and I get to witness it firsthand every single day. But she goes above and beyond every single day. She's kind, she's compassionate, she's a problem solver, always is positive, she's attentive, and incredible at what she does. She jumps in to help anywhere and wherever she can, has an amazing sense of humor, which you wouldn't know because she's so quiet, but she has an amazing sense of humor. And that helps keep our office such a happy place, even in the midst of all sorts of sicknesses and chaos. Yes, chaos. There we go. That's a better word. There we go. She's an attentive listener, meets the students' needs when they come into the health office, and is excellent about reaching out to families, works hard, is always positive, and does whatever it takes to make NBE a better place. So she's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move to our middle school staff of the month, and that is Leaf Asper. And Aaron Moore has some great things to say about Leaf.
Yeah, so when I was, so yeah, when I was writing up for Charles, I'm like, well, got some awesome staff we could recognize at CCA too, and worked a lot of great ones last year in 7th grade, worked with a lot of great ones now in 8th grade, and I just thought that Mr. Asper, I thought that he's a guy that definitely deserves to be noticed, and I wrote for him, and I'm in kind of a unique position because working with, strats and skills, I'm able to be a part of a lot of different classrooms, so I'm supporting students. I'd say the one thing that's most amazing about Mr. Asper's class is everybody's just kind of so good at working independently because everything is set up such that it's a well-oiled machine. I wrote down that every day I'm in there, I'm impressed by his depth of knowledge, how everything is organized, and how content is accessible to all students. Everything is incredibly efficient and students are always actively engaged. In addition, every square inch of his room is covered in engaging pictures and other science stimuli that I'm sure took forever to collect and probably cost a small fortune to purchase. I can tell Mr. Asper cares about his students being successful, especially for their future, because he's always discussing being ready for high school. When he has to correct a student on behavior or work ethic, he always frames it in a way so students realize these are the things that are going to prevent them from achieving success beyond high school. I believe Mr. Asper is the kind of teacher that most students will come to appreciate the further removed they are from his class, because he is purposeful about helping students help themselves, and he is a reality check a lot of students need before high school. One other just kind of funny thing that I got to share too is that one thing, he has like a bit of a banner up on his wall, and it's kind of almost like a source of pride for him. He had a student at one point tell him in the past that you're actually really nice as long as I don't act stupid in your class. And I think that's kind of really what it kind of boils down to. It's like he's a really caring guy, but
He's a senior.
he's a really caring individual, but he's also one of those that if he needs to show some tough love, he'll do that too. And I think that's the one thing that I can say that probably is most befitting a guy like Mr. Asper, is that the further and further you go away, it's like, wow, he may have kind of set me straight a couple of times, and he may have had to get after me, but gosh darn it, I'm a lot better for having him as a teacher. And he's the kind of person that, I think you really kind of recognize later on down the road that, yeah, he really did a good job. So
Thanks,
All right. Now I'd like to welcome Jesse DiLorenzo for the high school staff of the month, and Riley Partridge, who nominated Jesse.
All right, so I'm Riley Partridge. This is Jesse DiLorenzo. So what I said was Jesse goes above and beyond as a staff member by his drive to constantly be creating lessons that are fun and engaging for his students. This can be seen just by looking at the honors chemistry rubric and finding out the entire class is set up like a game, where the CFUs are set up as mini bosses, and each summative assessment is the final boss. The creativity doesn't stop there. The interactive lessons he provides, from seeing how different metals change the colors of flame due to their different electron configurations, to creating the whole escape room lesson plan, where they do a test review with an escape room setup. I can't even explain it to you because I wasn't in there, but it took hours for him to set all the locks. It was impressive. It was really cool to watch, just the setup of it. All this takes an immense amount of planning, and that's why almost every Saturday morning you can find him in the classroom modifying lessons and preparing for his upcoming week. For me this year, being my first year teaching at the high school, I have had the pleasure of sharing an office with Jesse, and he has been a fantastic role model for me as I try to navigate the very difficult first year of teaching. Without his guidance and knowledge, I would not be able to create some similar lessons to his for my own chemistry class and help make a difficult class fun and engaging for them. If I have a question or problem, he always drops what he's doing and lends an ear to help give advice or suggestions. Mr. DiLorenzo is an amazing representative of CCA, and having people like him around will help keep this district rowing in the right direction.
And now our last, but not least, our district-wide staff that we're going to recognize, Mr. Tom Boston-Kemple, who is our community rock star right now on Facebook. And Brad Fox nominated him.
So you all are going to feel sorry for me at the end of this, okay? So just remember that. All right, so Tom here retired a couple years ago, sort of, from the middle school as a special ed teacher, who volunteered to start doing the crosswalk right during COVID, if I remember right.
Yes.
And has continued to do that, even volunteered after he retired, and then continued doing it once he was officially retired. I've heard from countless people how Tom brightens their mornings with a wave, smile, or gesture that just oozes happiness and positivity. Tom cares for each and every student and helps make sure they make it to school safely each morning. To those of you that know Tom well, we realize that what everyone else sees each morning is what we have always seen in Tom. He's just a great man that wants to help everyone have a great day. Tom always lends a helping hand to anyone that needs it. Thanks, Tom, for all you do for CCA. The reason you'll feel sorry for me, okay, for the 10 years probably before that, I was a crossing guard. And now people say to me, not knowing, who is that crossing guard? He's so happy, and he's a lot thinner than the guy that you In all seriousness, he does an awesome job.
anybody that has a certificate, if you want to come back here, we'll get a picture real quick. And then
Thank you.
You want to do, since there's so many students, you want to do students, staff separate? You think you can fit everyone?
Lori, I'll let you try to. We'll see what we have up here.
Let's see if we can fit them all in together, and then if
You know,
not-
where board members.
Board members. You, yeah, this one.
Rick and Nick.
Rick and Nick.
There you go.
Come on over this way.
X,
We'll get you.
the X.
What do you want?
You're up in photo. We get this.
Wonderful.
You'll be
Just
right
smile,
up
just
front.
smile, you'll be fine.
He's right up front. Okay. You'll be right back with you.
Wouldn't be good. We're gonna keep up. You did awesome.
All right, you're gonna be right in the middle. You're gonna be right.
Just us two in the front, huh?
Come over here, kiddo.
Yeah, then you come forward. There you go. Maybe that one. Yep, sorry. Yep. You're fine. And then Rick, you want to get, yep.
I nominated like
And Nick, you might be able to squeeze that.
I'll see if I can get behind it, right next to Nick.
Okay.
I'd like, yeah, like.
That works?
Well, and the life is there.
Okay.
It's like, you know,
Can everybody see me? Okay.
After Laura gets hers, we'll have, you guys can take it from there, but we'll also have you come up if you want a better picture.
All right, I think all right, we can see everybody great. All right, smile. Awesome.
Okay, stay.
Stay, yep.
Parents want to come up closer, I think, probably. It always happens, people start moving and then. Everyone got it? Everyone got a picture? Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I appreciate that every morning.
Good job, Lee.
Good deal.
And I'll see you at your house.
You bet. Looking forward to it. Thank you. You too. Thank you for doing that.
We're gonna take multiple pictures.
I know.
The girls are up next.
You guys can stay for the rest.
I'll read you like the.
Okay. Up next is our community public forum. We have nothing online, and I don't believe we have any in-person comments for public forum. Nope. Okay. Then we'll move right into our presentations, and we have our high school newspaper presentation, the Anchor website launch. So, Marissa and Mrs. Moore is here, and the Anchor staff are here as well.
So I'm Marissa Moore, if I haven't met you yet, and since growth was the theme of kind of what I talked about, I thought it was really important just to quickly show you how ugly it used to be, and kind of where we started. And like I was printing these out, and Ella was in front of me, she's like, you can't show people that. And I was like, they have to know how bad it was. So in 2022, I got voluntold that at the end of July, that in August I would be the new newspaper teacher, and I was like, yep, got it. I've never taught a newspaper class. I have no background in journalism. I was not on my high school newspaper staff, and so when I took over, I was learning right alongside them, and so these girls have just been like the absolute best because they have stuck with me for 4 years, and I'm not sure I would have stuck with me for 4 years. But for several years, we didn't print a newspaper because we didn't know how to print a newspaper, and so we made these really cool giant articles, and we would hang them around the school, and they're really, remember how bad these were? Yeah, this was like, these are like the dark days is what we talk about. And like this was our newspaper. We had this giant wall and we would just hang up all these news articles we wrote and we would change them each month. And then we were like, okay, we've like learned something. So then we made this really also ugly booklet. And it looked kind of more like a newspaper as we were getting there. And then this design got upgraded to this design, so you can see kind of the progress is happening. And then I actually brought the very first newspaper we ever printed, and it was, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I think I was just like sweaty the entire time. I had no idea truly what I was doing, and so this was our very first newspaper we ever printed. This was in kind of the winter, it was like a January, February edition in 2024. So it took us that long to kind of get to this point as journalists, and then to be able to move from all of these things to like our most recent edition is just really incredible. And I think about, if you guys know about Spotify Wrapped, we did like a CCA Wrapped edition as like our centerfold. And so just the like design and the writing has just drastically increased over the last several years. And so last year we were all talking and Lily was like, I'm gonna build a website. And I said, you got it, girl. And I was like, I don't know how to build a website. And so Lily built this website. And she has taught me how to use the website. She has taught me how to update the website. And I would say like the other thing I didn't say is like she's an example of leaving a place better than you found it. And so now that we have this, we'll be able to do several things. So could you start just by clicking articles for me? So if you click articles, what we did is we have archived every article that we have written since we first started printing like I'm gonna call it the real physical newspaper. And so we have like an actual archive of student work now that kids can go back to and use as references. But it's like this living, breathing thing. And the other piece of kind of the digital age of news media is that if there's a correction that needs to be made, we have the opportunity to go in and correct and take feedback from people, which we're always open to feedback from people, but we don't have the funds to like just reprint a whole newspaper. And so now we can go onto the digital side of things and make actual corrections or update things. But this is our homepage. There is a feature section, there's a staff section. You can click into this, you don't have to do that, but if you click into the staff section, each kid has a headshot and a bio about themselves. And so you can kind of see what that looks like. We are working on expanding into the kind of like video world. And so you'll see like one of our first full-length interviews that we did about state speech, and that's on the homepage. But it's just a really cool place, and it's just like a living, breathing digital example of what our students are doing at the high school. And so like all of this growth, we have a lot more ahead of us and many other things to do. And so we just wanted to say thank you for supporting us. We're excited that you'll be able to read both in print and online. And I would say the last kind of thing is we are in the process, I won't say a date. We are a couple days away from sending our first news magazine to get printed. And so just the addition of a news magazine, a website, really opens up contests for us. Our very first year of contests, when we were nominated for News Team of the Year, we had won 14 awards. The previous year when we were nominated again, we won 25. And so our hope is just to continue to increase that number. And so having a digital platform and a news magazine allows us to engage in significantly more categories that we weren't able to participate in before. So yeah, be on the lookout for a news magazine. The March edition of the Anchor will be coming soon. And so just thank you again for supporting us and reading, and we really appreciate it. If you have any questions, I can answer them for you if you'd like. But
fantastic work. It's amazing. I love the website. Just I'm not in the high school a lot. Gretchen often brings it, but it was super cool. I didn't realize that was happening. So
We kind of, there's certain things I think as a teacher you just kind of keep to yourself in your classroom for a little while until it turns into a real thing. And so to be able to like just build this from scratch, I think is incredible. But the other piece is Lori let us know that it will live on the district homepage, so people will have access to it. And I think that's just really important for community engagement, that people who live in this area get to see the great things that students are doing and their writing and their photography skills. And so we're hoping that this is a platform to kind of just showcase all of their work.
I mean, it makes Voluntold look very successful.
It does make if you looked in here, you'd be like, wow, that was bad for us.
You got there very quickly.
But yeah, it has challenged me a lot as a professional. I said to some colleagues, I think every teacher should have to learn something just wildly new. I don't know, maybe every 5 or 10 years to keep you on your toes. But this was a big learning curve for me. I know I look and I am young, but I'm pretty much like a 90-year-old woman on the inside. And so the navigating of like embedding things, I was like, Lily, can we embed this on the homepage? And she's like, yeah. I was like, great, I'll watch a YouTube video. And so it's just been really great. I've learned a lot, and I feel like my brain has grown in the process. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are free to go if you want, by the way. We don't expect you to stay the whole time. And congrats on the awards and everything. Thank you for your dedication. Okay, up next we have Mrs. Parker here to present on North Bend Elementary.
Right, thank you for having me here. That was awesome. It's really great to hear all about that. A really hard act to follow, but I'm just going to take a few moments of your time to give a little bit of an update on how is North Bend doing with our school improvement plan. So just a few little snippets here. So our objective statement for the year: students will access the curriculum to increase their learning and success rate. Staff will implement curriculum with rigor to help students achieve their goals. And so one of our goals is surrounded, both of the goals that I'm going to share today are around our third grade group. And so the first goal, by the end of 2026 school year, 85% of third grade students will be proficient in the ELA portion of the Iowa statewide assessments. And though it's not apples to apples because we don't take ISAS until coming up here in April, we have our dipsticks of our map in the fall, winter, and spring, and we just finished our map screening for this winter. And our third grade are currently performing at 85.5% proficient in this group, which is phenomenal because this group coming in, I was a little worried about their they were a little lower coming in, and so we'll get into kind of why do we feel like they're doing so well. So super happy to see that. And then goal 2, likewise, was the third grade. By the end of 2026 school year, 85% will be proficient in math as well. And I did set these very lofty going, I'm hoping we can get there. But again, we just finished that map testing and we are at 85.5 again percent proficient with the map. So hopefully that will equate into our ISAS testing here in April. Oops, too many, sorry about that. So building a community of learners by increasing rigor and consistency in delivering of the core instruction. What did we do? What's going on with that? Christine, I'm super happy, has pushed really hard to help with the consistency across our grade levels and with our curriculum. Third grade prior to last year kind of had a hodgepodge of things going on, and we kept kind of giving them things to do so it wasn't super cohesive. And Christine really pushed bookworms, and so starting of January of last year, our third grade fully implemented bookworms, and it is just a pleasure to go in and watch and see and the kids learning and all of those things. So they are using that. Second grade teachers are all for, thanks again to Christine and Mr. Davidson to letting our we were gonna do 2 second grade teachers, and they're all like, well, we really wanna do this all together. So we are super excited that they are piloting all 4 teachers, the CCA, our new potential for next year, so, and seeing wonderful things with that, so I'm hoping that that will build on for next year as well. And then our intervention materials. One of the goals too is making sure that we are using our intervention materials consistently throughout the building, and we are using UFly consistently through all of our grade levels, not only with our intervention teachers, our special ed teachers are using it as well, and our classroom teachers are as well. Actually our classroom teachers, not 3rd grade, but K2, that is a portion of their day, every single day, whole class as well. That is really based on phonics, and it is really, I believe, making a really great difference in what we have going on. So one of the other things is, can our intervention teachers and all of our teachers collaborate? And one of the things that I have really enjoyed about our professional learning on Wednesdays is more building time, and it is really important for us to be together district-wide. However, as we get bigger and bigger and more buildings, it has been a fantastic thing personally in our building, because we used to have our data teams every week on Wednesday during their prep time, which limited us with not being able to have we could have our intervention teachers there, but not our special ed, not our ELL people, because they all had kids at the time. So we were able to move those to the afternoons on Wednesday. It's about every other-ish week with that, where we can have all of our stakeholders together at one spot to brainstorm and think about what we need. So that has been a crucial part of us all being on the same page at North Bend with our interventions. That is all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Questions from the team?
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Brenda. All right. Oh, and up next, Kale.
Just a second as I juggle things here.
So Kale will present to us about technology department once he's got the tech aligned. I think one day you'll have like a hologram of yourself, so that you can like do 2 things at once.
Oh no. Alright.
I saw that, Brad.
Alright. Double check if that's working. Okay, cool. Let me get my pop-up out of the way here. It's trying to be helpful and failing. All right, so you know I'm Kale. I hang out here often as you guys do some days, feels like. I run the technology department. I've been the director for, 2-3 years now. I've been in the department 20 years or so before that. I was a CCA student before that, and I didn't ever really leave. Started here in the fall of 2006, which was the same year I graduated. So back then we had 2 people in the department and 3 buildings, so we've come a little bit of a ways since then. Just to cover some of the way our building or our staff is laid out here, we have a total of our 7 people underneath me. Our Robbie, my right-hand guy, who's our network administrator and runs a lot of our back-end systems, does a lot of maintenance. He does a lot of hours on the weekends and in the evenings to make sure we have things maintained and we're not utilizing them. Leanne's my administrative assistant. She helps with coordinating our hotline, with tickets that occasionally come from our communities, with hotspot handouts, with some of our E-rate stuff, with our large amounts of SUI insurance claims that we put in on our one-to-one program and other systems. That's her primary jobs there. A lot of odds and ends. The way our operation, or sort of district breaks things down, in my head at least, is in these 3 categories. We do our operations, which mostly involves making sure that we're supporting our district mission. So we're driving and making sure that our technology is there to help and support our teachers and our students in the classrooms, and as much as possible, it's not getting in the way of that, if that makes sense. So a lot of that's long-term planning, and it's our one-to-one support and things like that. A big part of what myself and Robbie do now is what I call our digital ecosystem, where we deal with how our systems interoperate with each other, how our data flows from registration into PowerSchool, and then feeds just a myriad of systems down there, making sure that chain of custody is intact and secure and doesn't get in the way again, and that when we get that information, it's ready to go for students and teachers. And then more and more, of course, we get involved with security and compliance and making sure that we stay compliant with the various laws that we need to be, making sure that we're planning ahead for any security events. We're luckily one of the larger districts in the state still standing on that front, where we have not yet been compromised, but it's not really a matter of if that happens, but when, and I want to make sure that we are prepared for that eventuality. We took a look at this in my presentation back in, assuming that it's going to advance there. There we go. But our budget roughly breaks down like this. We are primarily funded out of the penny tax, that SAVE fund that you can find on the sheet that Lori shows, and then our Gen Fund, which is what the majority of our costs in the Gen Fund are, of course, our people. And yeah, there's that sheet. We're gonna go through this a little quick, just so you guys make sure we have some time at the end here. Some of our numbers that I like to brag about, some of the stuff that we look at and kind of keep an eye on year to year. So I do update these year over year if you look back and down in my past presentations. But we maintain right around 580 computers, and that does not count our Chromebook or iPad fleets. That's just staff and machines. The machines that are in front of you guys now are servers in the back end and things like that. Otherwise, about 2,700 Chromebooks, almost 1,500 iPads now, and then all the stuff that our students and staff do online every day on that right-hand side there. New at the bottom of that list are the Vivi devices that you guys may remember approving back in November. That system was completely deployed in December, and I spent pretty much all of January sleeping and breathing training and making sure that we had all that stuff out there to support our teachers, our teacher librarians, our administrators, all the various hands that need to be into that system. And so far that has been a big hit. Hopefully I'll have some updated numbers for this next year, but we are rolling out some interesting features that were requested by our own team, including live transcriptions and translations that we are demoing in 5 classrooms currently. So, I always take a moment to go over our one-to-one program, especially for our new board members, and take a look at that life cycle. To give you an idea of what that size looks like, we run about 1,200-ish devices at the high school, about 1,000 at the middle school, about 900 down at the 3rd through 5th, and about 850 down in K2. One of the big questions I usually get with the one-to-one program is, why do we have 1,200 devices at the high school when we only have 900-ish students at the high school? And that's because we purchase those devices ahead because they will eventually go down and feed that 3rd through 5th layer. So we're kind of looking ahead at what our student population looks like then. And it also has the great side effect of right now, the computers are kind of going through a supply side shock in that some of the AI infrastructure build out is really causing costs to go up for these Chromebooks. But because we do that purchase ahead, we're a bit insulated from those kinds of things usually. So that's very helpful in some situations like this. The next slide here kind of goes over what that structure looks like. We got our devices coming in on the top left there, going into either our high school or our middle school every 2 years. So they serve in 4 years up there. And then on the right-hand side, you can see they come around every 2 years, and we update those 3rd through 5th grade Chromebooks. So the 3rd through 5th grade is always getting a little bit of an older device, but they're getting that device updated twice as often. If that makes sense. And then our iPads kind of go through a similar cycle. Our K through 2 iPads, they start out there for 4 years, and then every 2 years we replace half of those, and they go into all those secondary use cases. I've listed staff and ticketing, but there are dozens and dozens and dozens of use cases where we use 3 iPads, 10 iPads here and there for various different specific tasks. Everything from our ticketing booths to our front of house kiosks that do visitor check-in, all the way into tracking our students' performance in the weight room. So tons and tons of stuff. Alrighty, our one-to-one program is a little bit more than just that Chromebook. These are kind of been our approximate costs over the years, but we do also provide bags or cases as appropriate for those devices. Some management licenses that allow us to control those devices over the lifetime in the district, and then some of our LMS systems that kind of back up those one-to-one devices and allow our teachers to be more successful in utilizing those. Some of our upcoming projects here. Our middle school and high school expansions are starting up to eat up a decent bit of my time as we go through and make sure that we have all the audio video needs and signage and cameras and access control and all that stuff that goes into those rooms. They're very unique compared to opening, say, East Ridge a couple of years ago, where we have classroom, where the needs are all the same. These are very specialized spaces, so there's just a lot more sort of nitty gritty, and it just takes a lot more effort to go through and make sure those things are accounted for appropriately when we get those designs all the way finished, which will be very, very soon. Our teacher MacBook upgrades are coming up here. We are hitting year 4 for those, and we're looking at extending those for budget reasons a little bit longer. It's one of the first years I'm comfortable doing that. They have the same generation of machines that you guys have in front of you now, so you should be kind of familiar with where they're at. Classroom projectors are going to be a big focus. I just sat down with Lori a few weeks ago to discuss this. Our average age of our projectors in classrooms is a little bit embarrassing at 9 to 11 years old. And I'm not particularly comfortable with where those are. So that's going to be a big focus of mine, is getting those upgraded over this summer so that we are providing that front of classroom experience that's the best possible we can do for our students, especially when you start thinking about eyesight issues and what we're doing in our classroom now being a little bit more impacted by that. And it looks like we will be able to get that done. I did mention the Student Data Privacy Consortium up there. That's something I may come talk to you guys about, because that will require board approval in the long run, and that is considering joining the Iowa chapter. That's a group of school districts. Admittance is paid for by the state of Iowa, and it allows us to kind of piggyback our privacy agreements with third-party education technology providers on top of the agreements they've already written with other schools, which kind of streamlines that process of checking out if a vendor has the appropriate student privacy stuff in place before we send our student data to that vendor, if that makes sense. And then in the long run, some two-factor authentication for students, so making sure that we keep our student accounts secure. There are some new ways to do that that shouldn't be too impactful in the classroom, so we can kind of look at that. The last slide I had here is just some of the legislation issues that I'm keeping my eyes on here coming up. We've got the WCAG requirements. That's the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. I'm sure Lori's going to be talking to you about this. That's coming up here relatively shortly. Basically in 2024, the Department of Justice issued new guidelines saying that certain content that we produce has to meet certain minimum accessibility guidelines. And depending on where we fall, that may happen as early as this April. So things that we publish have to meet requirements for various disability access stuff. That could mean that when we produce a video, that video has to have not only captions, but it has to have descriptions of the content that's on the screen. So if we were to leave this live stream up, for example, that becomes a pre-recorded video, and it wouldn't be good enough just to have my voice caption. We would also have to have a voice over describing the content that I'm putting up on the screen right now, if that makes sense. So those things that you can't pick up with a video. Yes?
Do you think AI will be used to create voiceovers?
AI will attempt to be used for that.
It might not be good enough.
It won't be good enough for a while, and if we were to continue doing that, I don't see us getting away with that kind of pre-recorded content without paying for a service to do that.
Okay.
Now, if we put something out live and we take it down immediately, it's not pre-recorded and it only requires those captions, that's fine for that. But for as far as those descriptions go, it's a little bit more difficult. And that's just the beginning. There's guidelines around having alternative text and making sure things are screen reader friendly, making sure your content has a certain contrast ratio, all that stuff applies, and there's a lot of rules involved with it. AI in schools, unfortunately this is kind of all over the place. We have guidelines from older laws, FERPA and COPPA and CEPA, those are regarding education records, opt-in and out for data collection for parents, harmful content filtering. None of these things were written in the age of AI, so we've got all that stuff clashing with Executive Order 14277, which is the presidential initiative for AI education and things like that. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that stuff. You guys might have heard a little bit about the screen time limits. I believe only Alabama has talked about this currently, as far as actually putting any laws into place, but we did just see hearings in January with the Commerce Committee regarding potentially limiting screen time for students. Now there was a lot of sort of submissions on that, trying to make sure that the committee, if they ever produce anything, it distinguishes between parents at home and screen time versus what screen time is used for in schools in a lot more deliberative manner, but we don't know where that's going to come out in the long run. And then I mentioned COPPA compliance up here because some of our third-party education vendors, our ed tech people, are still in the middle of integrating this, where what it comes down to is making sure that any of our students who are under 13, the services we use with them are not collecting any data on those students unless we have explicit written permission from the parents. So sometimes I have to say no to a particular service or something like that because they are collecting that data, and we don't want to go out in the middle of the school year and ask every parent to allow permission for the kids under 13. Whereas once we get up to those older grades, then it's fine. That's all I have. Do you have any questions here? Not a lot, right?
You mentioned security cameras. Is that or cameras?
Sure.
Is that security cameras?
Yeah, both actually. You're talking with the middle school and high school expansions? I think that's the context of
Where I'm going with this is, I saw in the news, there's a school eastern towards Mississippi, really small school. They're using the AI with their cameras. You know what it's about?
Yeah.
You want to tell them?
Sure.
Thank you.
There are various services out
Good
there
segue.
right now that purport to sort of take the feed of your cameras and do visual analysis on those to detect weapons, sometimes malicious intent, if you want to do that. The idea is that it flags it for review by somebody, and then that somebody reaches out and contacts somebody. Right now, we have, I think it's almost 300 cameras, security cameras in the district, so that would be quite a purchase to send all of those. We could focus on just the high school, which limits us down to a mere 96-ish cameras. So that would be a big ask spending-wise to do that, but it isn't impossible. From what I've seen of those services so far, they're quite good at identifying a weapon if a kid is walking into school brandishing it. Most students probably aren't going to start that way.
And that's why I preference the small, I assume a small district, maybe they got 10 cameras or 5. So I'm glad you are aware of it.
Yeah, and then you have to consider the ramifications of sending continuous pictures of our students potentially across state lines and the security of all that content and things like that. That comes down to those student data privacy.
Well, I guess I'll say never mind then.
Yeah, it's not something it's currently on my radar to do, but you would definitely hear about it.
Well, I appreciate you knowing about it. Good work, Kale.
Yeah, and I appreciate the legislation piece. I think of funding this time of year, SSA, a lot, but I forget how it affects all of our directors too.
Yeah.
So it's super helpful to hear how everyone's monitoring this and giving us a heads up on
trying
things.
to keep that stuff under control. We're hitting the limits of what we can do there, but we're trying, I promise.
Yeah, good, good.
Very good.
No questions. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll give him a minute to segue. Yeah, but next up we'll go into reports, and I believe Mr. Daniel's coming up to do the student representative report.
All right, that's correct.
Yeah.
So Gretchen's preparing for state basketball. They have important practice because they play Saturday. So I told her that I would take this on for her. So we did just finish with state speech. We hosted that. It was a lot of people, but it was highly successful. And then we qualified 7 different groups that will now be traveling to Ames this weekend to perform there. So hats off to Chrissy Berlin and her coaches. There's 3 of them: Tracy Williams, John Petrozalka, and Jacob Halter. So that might be, I think, possibly a school record. I know that they were really happy, so that's good. Boys and girls basketball both won the Wamac West. So our girls will play Saturday night, 7 o'clock at home, and then hopefully when they win, they will turn around and play again on Tuesday. So it's going to be busy at the high school because we've got PLPs. We intentionally kind of switched our schedule around so that it's by appointment only, so that hopefully we can have the gym ready to go and do our PLPs and go support our girls. The boys didn't get seeded as highly as maybe we thought. They drew a 4 seed, so they will play Monday at home against Benton. And then if they win, they turn around and will play Thursday at ADM, which is a little bit of a hike. So, but both of them have been pretty successful, considering that, well, our girls are a veteran team and our boys are relatively young. So kind of both ends of the spectrum. State wrestling starts tomorrow. I think we have 6 wrestlers that qualified for state. So that will go on all week from Wednesday to Friday. We'll see how that impacts attendance with the students that are wanting to go down there and support our athletes. You saw what the anchor is doing. So proud of that group and what they're doing to just make sure that, you know, we're able to kind of write our story instead of having other people do it for us. NHS just had their induction ceremony on Sunday. Credit to Miss Amana. She's trying to maybe bring it up a notch and make it really a true NHS where it is an elite group. So that just happened on Sunday. So proud of that group. Map testing, we just finished that. I think we're still got a couple makeups to do. So we'll take a look at that data. For people that don't know, this kind of gives us an indicator as to how kids will perform on the ISAFS test. So by getting some of this information in our teachers' hand beforehand, we can hopefully respond and get prepared for when it comes time to take our ISAFS tests. Unified PE had their halftime basketball show. That's always a big hit. And they are also now going to be traveling to Des Moines. We just kind of approved a field trip for them to go to Des Moines so that they can, you know, do some additional activities. So Sammy Moss and Brandon Clubb are doing a good job of making sure, you know, that we are being as inclusive as possible. And I just think probably from my perspective as a principal, between Unified PE and the number of kids that are out in general ed classes, we have really increased that number from where we were last year. So if you were to come through a classroom, you would see kids maybe in a Spanish class or art classes. And whether they stay the whole time, it's just kind of dependent on what they can tolerate, but we're happy to have them out and about and they eat in the cafeteria with our kids too. And then finally, we have PLPs coming up this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we added an additional arena style, which is kind of where you can come into the gym and meet with as many teachers as you want to. We decided to try that just because usually spring PLPs are not as well attended as fall. So, questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have two. Thank you. So I was wondering, I think sometimes in years past, the all-state speech individual team people have put on like a, maybe not, but like a showcase at the high school. Is there a plan for that again this year since we have so
many? They already did that.
Oh.
So there was a showcase. It occurred on the same night as, I think, wrestling. And so they did, I think they did that as kind of a precursor to their first major event. That we didn't host that. We went, I don't know what school we went to. So they kind of do that to work through the kinks.
Got it.
Yeah, so speech did have that. Now they do have several more upcoming events. Do not believe any of them are home, but you know.
Is Allstate like live streamed?
At Ames?
Closing ceremony is. I don't think they live stream the individual things. They hear?
No, they do not. No, they can't.
But
It just does not.
I will work with Lori, and I believe probably given their success, they will most likely be standing before you next month at this board meeting, so that maybe we can show some of their performances.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And then my second question, it kind of ties to the NHS induction ceremony, well, the community service hours piece. But I want to say thank you for the silver cord. I know we've talked about it before. I love it. Is there a mechanism through which community members or community organizations who would like volunteers, is there a mechanism for us to put out calls or in like groups to put out calls for volunteers? So we can help facilitate hours and stuff and get more community.
Yeah, it's a great idea. So to be honest with you, it took, we kind of dusted off the old silver cord plan. And then we didn't do a very good job at the beginning of the year promoting it and getting it kids. So we've kind of emphasized that. So that would be a natural next step. You know, as Ms. Amelon did NHS interviews, that is a key component, the service piece. And it would be nice to get our kids to be doing more than just say, hey, I'm babysitting or I'm doing concession stands that are kind of, it's not forced, but it's not as, there are just more opportunities out there where we could serve the community. So that would be a natural next step that we can work on to.
I know you have lots to do. I just didn't know if you already had it set up. No pressure.
But
no
it's
pressure.
it's a good thing to put, you know, for us to do that so that we can also work with not just NHF, but our Interact Club, which does a lot of community service. So we have a lot of student organizations within our building too. FFA is doing a lot of stuff, so we can certainly do a better job of putting it out there for people just who need help be able to request that. I don't know if you saw the ramp that
Yes.
your kids built.
Mr. Clark built?
Yeah,
that
I
was
saw it
so
today.
cool.
Yeah, so, those are things that we could certainly put out there to make sure that we're integrating what kids are doing in our building out there.
Thank you. Sorry, do other people have questions?
No, you're good. Anything else?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Maury, you're up next with the building projects update. I think this is like the shortest one I've ever seen. Is he gonna come up? He's like, no, I'm not coming up. It's so short, Allison. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, there's a little light on the report, just go around. But as far as the baseball and softball complex, there has been additional work since I wrote this report. So the cabinets and countertops have been delivered. They're getting ready to install those. They're currently painting the inside of the concession stand. So there has been some more progress since last week when this was written. So just any questions on the complex at all? Okay.
Well, will they be reinstalling the bullpen on the old field? Because that all got ripped out because of all the.
Yeah, that is part of the plans.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, there'll be a brand new bullpen there, and there'll also be a new bullpen for the visitor side as well.
Okay.
Yep. Anything else? Okay. The high school and middle school additions, the plans were just progressing as we need to, getting everything prepped to get the plans out for bidding. So any questions on that at all? Okay, and then the roast for CCE, same thing. We've got those on the docket for the public hearing, notice of public hearing and whatnot, and we're going to proceed forward with that as far as getting the documents out for bid. So pretty light, but things are moving along, and they'll really start ramping up here in a couple months. So, okay.
Thank you, Maury.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Davidson, over to you for superintendent report.
Okay, a couple of them Tom hit on, but I'll just go through it quickly. Our winter sports postseason is upon us. Good luck to our state qualifying wrestlers. Super excited for the coaches and team. They'll be down in Des Moines starting on Wednesday. They leave tomorrow morning. They start, I believe, at 1 o'clock is when they kick off the 3As. So good luck to our varsity girls basketball team as they start their postseason run to the state tournament this week. Boys finish their regular season tonight, and we'll be starting postseason play next week. Best of luck to all our student athletes and coaches. And as Tom mentioned, our CCA speech team received a record number of all-state nominations for state speech. Competition held at our high school on Saturday, February 7th. I just want to note, on top of our kids doing fantastic, that took a lot of legwork from a lot of staff at the high school. So that was very appreciated. They did a fantastic job. We had 7 outstanding performances, and these students will be traveling to All-State Festival on Saturday, February 21st in Ames. Kudos to all involved. Our middle school principal interviews are scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. We're bringing in 3 applicants, one of which is an internal. I hope to have an offer out by midday at the latest on Thursday. In a perfect world, it'd be tomorrow night, but we'll see how that process goes. We have 15 applicants, at least at the time I wrote this. I believe we have 2 more since for our Oak Hill principal opening. Catherine and I plan on narrowing that down to 3 to 4 finalists on Friday, and the plan to have interviews for that is on Wednesday, March 4th. From there, our focus will turn to Amana Elementary, the halftime principal opening. The last time I looked, we had 4. I think we may be up to 5. And my goal is to have that process taken care of by March 25th. The reason there's that delay there, we have like spring break in between, so that week off. Then we have PLPs in there as well for next week. Negotiations are right around the corner. I'm looking forward to the process. I'm confident that with our interest-based bargaining approach of being collaborative, it will be a win-win approach, focused on meeting the underlying needs, interests, and goals of all parties rather than a rigid adversarial demands. It will be emphasizing open communication, joint problem solving, and building trust to create mutually beneficial and durable agreements. And finally, I want to publicly commend all of you around the table for your willingness to dive into learning around best practices for school board members. From ISB's Ready, Set, Govern, the board workshop we hosted in January, to the board retreat last Tuesday led by ISB. I applaud everyone around the table just for investing in learning around best practices. As I think you know better than any, you guys have complex roles as a school board member, and I'm confident your time and investment to that will lead to better outcomes for our students and staff and overall CCA community. So thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Davidson? And I thought the retreat was really fun, you guys, so we can do more of those.
Whoa.
You guys all just like laugh kind of at me, and you're like, Allison. Okay, up next, Lori for finance report.
Yes, I won't take much of the time. A year ago, about now, the district and the board approved to participate in the SPF program, which is the Storm Protection Fund, to help manage the higher deductible wind deductibles on all of our buildings. And we did receive word that that the prediction for fiscal year 27 is that the claims that they've had and the expenses have been very manageable and come in below budget. So they're going to anticipate not to exceed an amount for the upcoming year to stay at the same premium that we paid last year. Their goal is to build up a sufficient enough balance that they could begin to adjust the contribution that we pay. But that's good news. And even if we were to have I don't want to say it too loud, a bad spring and have some disaster claims or any of those types of things, they feel that the fund is sufficient to be able to cover those without increasing the contributions. So this was our first year trying that, and so I wanted to just give you that update. At the end of the year, end of June, we will receive a report that shows, what their balances and that I can share with you then at that time once they have that ready.
Is that the one that like schools are choosing to be a part of?
Yeah, they a few years back the deductibles for wind and hail damage got really, really high.
Okay.
And so we had the opportunity to buy down those deductibles, which was at a cost of about $235,000 for the district. And our contribution into this fund, which also lowers the deductibles from $100,000 to $75,000, but it also was a reduction in the premium of right at $100,000. So we paid $130,000 for our contribution versus the $230,000 premium.
Good job.
And all of that comes out of management. So that's doesn't affect the general fund.
And I remember we did it was like they had so many schools that were for sure doing it, and we were like comfortable with. And I guess we'll know in June, but do you know how many schools are now a part of this? Did they
I
give
do
you an update on
not.
that? Okay.
I do
We'll
not
hear in
have
June.
a number, but yeah, they will
But it
probably
seemed
have
like
that
it's
be
probably
part of
growing.
their annual report to the participants in the risk pool.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then the other thing, and I didn't include these because I want you to have paper to take home. Each of your chairs tonight, I did a projection for 1.75 SSA and also the 2.25 that came out from the House just in the last couple days. And then I also printed the one that we talked about at the work session that has the 2%. So since our focus right now is on our unspent budget authority, what Erin and I did this afternoon was I just pulled out that specific report and then kind of could compare. And as you can see, it makes a little bit of a difference on our UAB percentage. Not a large difference, but again, the important piece is that we're trending in that right direction. And again, for our unspent balance, the things that contribute to that particular calculation is the SSA, our growing student population, which again, we are probably very unique in that for this the past certified enrollment period to continue to have growth. And then the only other piece, which is really the only piece we have any control or ability to manage, is our expenditures. So again, we are just wrapping up the end of our mid-year budget review, and so my goal would be for in March, when you have financial reports, there'll be updated expenditure dollars in there. So then that will, of course, affect and change all of these numbers too, but that will be additional information to come. as you look through these, if you have any questions, just be sure and reach out. It's just the same thing, just with the two additional SSA amounts. So I would anticipate we'll end up back at 2, since it's, pretty much right in the middle of the two, the difference between the Senate and House.
Questions for Lori?
Thank you for these.
Absolutely. Sometimes those are hard to read on a computer screen, so you have paper copies to
What day
compare.
of legislation are we on now?
First funnel is Friday.
Are we coming up on their time they're supposed to by law figure out SSA?
That was
Passed it
February.
again.
Last week.
That was February 13th.
So 21 out of 22 years now, is that right? Okay.
20 plus.
Okay, well, hopefully before April 1st, that's what my goal is for them.
We will probably certify a budget without knowing, is my perception. And that's not new, so.
Okay, we'll move into board report. Thank you, Rick, for mentioning the 2 events you've gone to report out on, and then we'll start with those, but then everybody can sit and think about have they been to something for a committee or something while Rick talks.
So I went to the Iowa, Iowa Conference Board, so anyway, the conference board, for the board members that have not been involved, the school districts have a vote, the mayors of the cities have a vote, and the board,
The supervisors?
Supervisors, thank you.
County
The supervisors have a vote, so there's 3 votes cast at these meetings. And mainly what we vote on is the salaries increase or decrease of the auditor and her staff. Our staff in Iowa County is way below like counties by tens of thousands of dollars. So we did vote to increase it by 6%, and this is the preliminary vote. And then next month is when it's open for the public, and that's when we decide yes or no. The head supervisor or head assessor, that will raise her salary $5,000 a year. So she is still tens of thousands behind. It's triple figures, but very low triple figures. So I don't know which way I'm going to go with this, but I'll go with the way it was in order. The county does the assessment on your property, and that can be disputed by homeowners and businesses. So currently, Iowa County is being sued by 2 businesses disputing their assessed value of the land, and it's Kinsey Manufacturing is one, which their current assessment is at $11 million, and the county assessor is requesting or assessed them at $18 million. So that would be a huge increase in property tax. Whirlpool is another one. I see it in my backyard. And when I say Whirlpool, it's not, Whirlpool is based out of Benton Harbor, Michigan. Whirlpool does not own the building. So Whirlpool eventually would be paying it because their rent would go up. They're assessed at $22 million. The county assessor is assessed at near $60 million. And some of the reason for that is it was sold, Whirlpool owned it. About 5 years ago, they sold it to an investment firm for $98 million. And then recently it's been sold again to another investment firm for $128 million. So I think if you look at those numbers, that's where the county assessor's coming up that this building and land is not worth $22 million. So that's where we're at with property taxes. And then she spent a lot of time on the property tax reform. The county assessors, her and not just Iowa County, they are fit to be tied because like our proposal, we don't know what we're getting. They really don't know how low, what's going to happen with reform, where they're going to make up the difference for their salaries. and to help the county engineer with gravel roads. It's really scary for those people. Any questions on the conference board meetings? And then I did go to the library meeting this last Monday, or last week, I guess it was. Rhonda Hegewalt, so I'm on the Amana Library Board. Rhonda Hegewalt is the director there, and I've known Rhonda forever. I was expecting Heather Fox being there. I didn't know she was gone. She was there prior. But Rhonda has got things going over there. It's amazing the things she presented. She does a lot of summer programs. She has Mashner Gardner coming in for free every Thursday this summer. They're doing sessions on art. She's trying to get somebody to do drums. She's got a Bob Ross painting class coming up where she's got the palettes or whatever with she's got that already lined up. She's also working on a pickleball demonstration or class, because you guys or Ben McCumber or somebody, we got 3 pickleball courts right there. You can see them from the library. They're wonderful. Then a lot of discussion came from Julie Zuber. She's on the board. Allison sicked me on Don Driscoll at the meeting in Montezuma, or where were we? Yeah, Brooklyn. I had no idea what I was talking to Dawn about, but she knew immediately. And the other representative was there, and they said, whenever Amana comes up at the State House, there's people take attention. So our library, and I don't know if you guys can explain it, it's a mess. So we're not
a public library.
We're not a public library, and we are the only library in the state that gets property tax levied. We get 20% from the Amana village, Amana area, towards the library. And that, I believe it started in 2005 and has not increased. So we got 2 things going with the state. They have to bring it to a vote. The Des Moines has to approve us to put it to a vote. So we just can't say we want to raise it, let's vote for it. The legislature has to, by law, let us do it. So that's very small potatoes for property tax and all this other stuff, I'm sure. And the second part is where I don't understand. We're not a library. We were under Marengo. We pay them over $3,000 a year, basically to get books through other libraries. I forget what that's called.
Interlibrary loan.
Interlibrary loan. We can't do it ourselves. We have to go to Marengo. So they canceled that, but we're still paying Marengo $3,000, and we don't know what for.
Yes, so they previously would drive the books over like once a week for people who would request them. Rhonda would submit the request, and then they drive the books over. And then this last year, they like raised the price for us to use them as our funnel through for the tax dollars, but then they stopped driving the books.
And the books come from all over the state, not just Marengo.
Yeah, but
they can be but they have to go to Marengo first.
Yeah, because we're not we're a public library, but not because we're in a town that is not.
We're a non-incorporated town, yeah. So that's really the rub. And for Dawn and Julie just started this conversation with Dawn this fall, and Julie was glad I talked to her because she has not gotten back to Julie on a regular basis. But I said she does know about it, and we talked really that we really think nothing will happen this legislative year. And I suggested to Julie, besides Dawn, couldn't we go to other legislators and try to get more? Why does it have to be?
She's reached out to Judd.
Judd.
Yeah, and you talked to him a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought Dawn was like, oh yeah, Julie and I, we've talked, but it sounds like they probably haven't talked as much as Dawn thought, so
yeah,
it made it seem.
So it's, what's really frustrating, we're paying Marengo $3,000 and we're really, I think we get ebook now from them or something, I don't know. I don't know if Lori has more on that, but that's my report. Any questions? I hope not, because the library one, that library one, I'm out.
I can help with library questions.
No, I hope not.
I know more about the library if people have questions about that.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Did anybody else attend a meeting or a committee?
Now, there's not been a joint commission since the last meeting, and Iowa City canceled their last legislative session. They'll have their next one next Friday.
Well, let me jump in now. With their legislative session, does the Amana thing have to come from an Iowa County person, or could we talk to Johnson County people and say, you got time, talk to Dawn about this? That vote thing for that 20%, that really needs adjusted. And we're not talking 5 cents. We're talking, it maybe could be $1, or start with $1 and bring it down to 50 cents or something.
Affect the Amana area people.
Yeah.
But
Right, and Lori has it on her reports every time about that little 20-cent levy. So that's what I didn't know how the politics works, if they can reach out to other counties.
Oh, yeah.
Word of mouth helps.
At some point, they all have
Pardon?
to vote on it.
Word of mouth is.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want them to know about it, so if
Yeah.
it ever comes up. All right, thank you.
Springmeyer Library or anything?
Don't really have anything,
Oh, okay.
you know, I did attend, but nothing.
No drama like that one over there?
No drama. Sorry.
Okay.
And I think the Johnson County meeting that you're taking
Next
over is
week.
next week, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, foundation meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Did SIAC yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Pretty well attended. Pretty great presentations from all the directors, and like Mr. Davidson would say, we went over by half an hour.
Yeah.
That's because of really good questions from the community and surrounding the condition of learning survey coming up. So hopefully we get a lot of buy-in or opt-in for a great response and actions to make our district better, I guess. Yeah, that's the only one I attended.
All right. Okay. Well, then let's move into our action items. Item A is the initial proposal of Clear Creek Amana Education Association. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
No, you can come up with mine. Okay, so now we have the initial proposal exchange. So on behalf of the association.
Oh, I made a copy for anybody who is interested in a copy. My name's Kristen Greathouse. I am Eastridge instructional coach by day, and tonight I'm here to give our opening statement from the Education Association. So, the Clear Creek Amana Education Association is here to present our initial proposal to the Clear Creek Amana Community School District. This is the beginning of a process that will allow the association to present to the board our priorities for ensuring all of our students and staff are supported and successful. To our association, bargaining is more than just salary and benefits. Our priorities include to hire and retain the most talented and qualified staff to serve our students and our community at competitive wages while striving for educational excellence, seeing students have the best possible environment to reach their highest potential, ensuring education professionals are respected for their expertise and encouraged to grow professionally. We know the district will work with our members to ensure, once again, a workplace that provides the highest level of instruction to the students of this community and an environment conducive to successful learning. Thank you for considering these items and understanding their importance to our association and to our students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need a vote that we're accepting?
No.
Oh, we don't have to
No,
vote on
they
it?
just make the statement. We're good.
So we don't need a motion then? Oh, sorry, no motion needed. Action item, I thought it needed a motion.
Just accept, yeah,
ready to
probably,
go.
yeah.
Okay, so item B is the initial proposal of Clear Creek Amana Board of Education, which the superintendent is going to present.
So as the chief negotiator, on behalf of the district, we'll present the district's initial proposal. And the way that reads is the CCA district's interests. The CCA Board of Education would like to collaborate with CCAEA to continue to provide the following: continue working collaboratively with the Education Association to ensure that the agreed upon settlement percentage is utilized to ensure a competitive starting salary for teachers, as well as support the retention of quality teaching staff long term. 2, while outside the scope of negotiations, the Board of Education also wishes to maintain the non-salary related incentives for staff, the Certified Staff Handbook Committee, insurance provisions, and other non-monetary benefits. And 3, the board will continue to build upon the trust and mutual respect established between Clear Creek Education Association and the district, while abiding by the financial and legislative restrictions that are placed upon us.
Great. Thank you. Item C then is to approve the 2026-27 at-risk dropout prevention plan.
And I noted this in my Friday update. I apologize. It was approved last month, and we had we had this current school year on it, and so I'm bringing it back in front of you because we need next year's date. As I stated, it's a new process of school year, and again, I apologize for having to have it approved, but we need the right date. So this is for the 26-27 school year.
Second.
Any other questions or discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D is to approve the 28E agreement, school resource officer.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, questions and discussion here about this 28E agreement for this SRO with Tiffin, or Johnson County, Tiffin,
Johnson County.
Johnson County.
Yeah, so I've got one on section 5, number 4. It talks about the access to student management systems.
Yeah.
Can you talk more about how that works, why it's necessary?
Yep, so they are gonna have access, so like if they have the ability to make a phone call to a parent or to a guardian. So basically they're gonna have access to Power Schools, the same as a teacher would. If in case they need to know a child's schedule, in case a child comes to them and wants to sit in a meeting, they need to know where that child is. It depends on where we're gonna put their office space, both middle school and high school. Ideally, it's in a place close enough where they have easy access to a secretary, they can communicate that way. But not knowing exactly where they're gonna be, it's outlined in the contract or the 2080 agreement that we have to have a space for them, which of course we're gonna be able to provide, but that's what that is. So they have access to Power Schools.
Okay.
And they will have a device from us for that.
Okay.
Other questions?
The only other question I had was, so there will be another agreement that comes up with the city of Tiffin on the, okay.
Yes, this is the 2080. So this is the meat and potatoes of what the actual person is going to be doing. We will be paying the city of Tiffin. We do not pay Johnson County, of course, and so this is the most important agreement. Or and I will work on that other side with Tiffin. Of course, you'll be in the know about what that looks like as well.
And this is a reminder everyone kind of our pilot year, so it's a 1 year long 28E.
And we will be part of the interview process. That's important to note. Myself, Mr. Daniel, and it depends on when the actual interviews will take place. The new middle school principal would also be involved in that ideally, because those would be the 2 buildings the deputy will be serving.
Even if Mr. Fox is retired by then, could we have him as a consultant maybe? And maybe not. I'm just throwing it out there.
I would have the new administrator in the building, as that will be the person that will be directly supporting the SRO. For a variety of reasons, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But for sure, there'll be 2 of us. I'm thinking the timeline is if we have middle school interviews tomorrow, we're going to have somebody in place by the time that interview. It just depends on what candidate comes out on top, to depend on if it's an internal or if it's someone we'd have to see if they would be able to come from where they're currently at. So.
All right.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item E is to establish the public hearing date for the proposed property tax rate notice.
Motion.
Second.
questions or discussion here? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item F is to establish the public hearing date for the 26-27 certified budget. I guess I should say the date for April 15th, 2026.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item G is to establish a public hearing date for the CCE roof replacement project of Wednesday, March 4th, 2026.
Motion.
Second.
Does
Questions, discussion, go ahead.
that mean we'll have a work session that night?
Great question. I did wonder that too when I saw that. I don't know that we have content. Let me go look at the.
That'll probably be budget.
Oh yeah, it's budget season, so I think we will have a work session. Hopefully a brief one.
Mm-hmm.
But if for some reason we don't need, well, yeah, we'll have to now if we approve this. Any other questions or discussion?
That's why I'm asking, should we, do we need to do that March 4th, or can it be the next scheduled?
It'd be at the end of March. We did it.
Yeah, it would be
March
March 25th
25th.
because of spring break. That would delay the project.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons we looked at that date.
Mhm.
Spring break week.
Yeah.
Fell in a tough spot.
Gotcha.
Gosh, who set that calendar?
I did not.
I know. Who approved it, I mean. Okay, so March 4th will be best for the project to proceed, it sounds like. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item H is to establish a public hearing date for the flexibility account transfer, and that one's being set as Wednesday, March 25th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, questions or discussion about that date? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, up next, item I is to approve the purchase of a 2023 Ford T350 van from Kelowna Auto and in the amount of $35,500.
Motion.
Second? Oh, go ahead.
Second.
Yep, I was just asking for one. Yep, perfect. Okay, questions, discussion. Here, I know that we got it in the, there was some information about it. Or we've had previous van purchases this year, and you'll see there's another one as our next item. And Denny's here in case there are questions from everyone. I know one thing I thought about was we bought some vans recently, and I went back to your presentation. I think it was like in September.
Yes.
And I remember that vans are the focus of this year's purchases. I think your presentation had that. Whereas like last year we were very bus focused, and you kind of mapped out, and it's always based on availability and needs. But I felt like this year it was that we're van focused. Is that correct?
With approval of these two, we are where I wanted to be for the last couple of years.
Okay.
This gets us to 22, and currently with the 20, as Tom mentioned, with our success with students and programs and things. For example, this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 6 to 8 vans have been requested for travel. I don't have any more than 4. So the others are on routes right now, so tell those groups, I don't have this, be flexible with times, those kind of things. These two gets us to where I wanted to be for the last couple of years. And that's what the SBARs have been pretty vague. They're not replacing anything. They're just adding to what we have needed for a while.
Have you retired any vans since? In the
Not
last
yet,
year?
but this will allow me next fall to kind of be creative with high mile rotations. We certainly look at every year where routes are at, the exterior perimeter routes, and keeping miles down on models any way we can. So yeah, obviously the ones that sit for 4 days a week, they're gonna be the higher mileage ones. And then we backfill with routes and put our newer models on activity runs with, like over Des Moines or Indianapolis, for example, FFA. There's all those groups that ask for vehicles. We certainly try and put the newest models in place with this addition of these two would add, to the fleet and give us flexibility to backfill. Obviously, be more flexible with saying yes the times we want them. So the S-bars in the future will be more specific in terms of this is replacing this vehicle. The ones in the past 2 years, it's just vague because it's just an addition.
Okay. So expanding the fleet to accommodate student activities, because a lot of vans are already on route.
20, we have 20 now, and currently 16 or 17 of them are assigned to routes every day. So it's just a more flexible number.
And then I did see, I mean, the SBAR saw the recommendation portion for both talks about kind of this is the PEPL budget then has been, this is the end of your PEPL budget for vehicle purchases. So you're feeling comfortable with that, obviously, it seems like too.
Yes, we're exhausted for this year. The next focus will be our minibus additions and replacements, and those will be specific to which models, which vehicles, which ones, and why.
And that's like, yeah, I remember that. It's slated kind of for more next year.
August,
You had like a nice
yeah, July, August, yes.
Okay, the next fiscal year. Okay. Other questions here for Denny? Is your arm okay? Sorry.
It will be.
Okay.
3 weeks in from some surgery, doing fine. Yes, thank you.
Well, thanks for being here.
Appreciate your assistance and approval.
Great. Okay, so for item I, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So then item J is to approve purchase of a 2023 Ford T350 van from Castle Motors in the amount of $34,180.
Second.
Question or discussion here? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, item K is to approve the bid drawings and documents for the Clear Creek Elementary roof improvement project.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, questions or discussion here? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item L is to approve the purchase of the high school repeater system in the amount of $74,883.85 from Business Radios.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, questions and discussion here?
Can someone explain more about what a repeater system is, what it does, what our current system lacks?
I can.
Great.
Okay. Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm Kale's wife. I can explain what it is.
What's your official title?
A lot of different things. I grew up, my dad and my brother are both police officers, and my grandfather was the chief of the State Patrol, so I know about police systems and radio systems. I used to install 700, 800 megahertz systems in patrol cars. So what there is a specific frequency of police radio systems that are a statewide frequency system that allows radio communication at a longer distance or on specific communications with different departments. And older radio systems do not operate on the 700 and 800 megahertz radio stream. And so what this is something that allows for communications across multiple counties and allows for encrypted communication, which a lot of our systems and different departments now use in our area. So what they're going to do is they're going to have to put in what is essentially a higher broadcast or a stronger signal, which allows them to communicate. In Iowa, a lot of our broadcast systems go to communication centers that are centralized. The one for the Iowa State Patrol is centralized in Des Moines, So all radio communications need to go to Des Moines from where an officer is. You have different communication centers also here, like in Johnson County, you have a news communication center here. They will talk to Des Moines, and that's how they radio communicate with different officers. The other places you will communicate with, for instance, would be over along the Mississippi and Davenport. That's where all communications come from for the hospital to communicate with air care systems. So those are just a few examples.
I was waiting for Maury to come up here.
I can do it though. I know this one. I know this one.
So
that's just like a broad overview of how these work.
So if there's an emergency in our high school right now,
Yep.
and a fireman or a police officer is in the building,
Yep.
they would have a hard time.
It would have a hard time broadcasting and reaching the
their-
communication center here to be able to broadcast out. The signal might be weak and not communicate and reach them. So it's a issue with them not being able to necessarily reach or reliably reach the Johnson Communications Center. So
And right now, our middle school and all the elementary schools are up to standard.
that's a Maury question. I can answer what this does, Maury has to answer the rest.
So what we had done is the Tiffin Fire Marshal came through all of our buildings in the Tiffin area, and they measured signal in all different parts of the building. And what they found was the signal for them to get out to dispatch was way too weak in our buildings, and that's how they determined we needed this repeater system. So the high school, they tested that, they tested the middle school, they tested Tiffin Elementary and Oak Hill. And every one of them, their signal is too weak to get out. So we will have to have a repeater system in all of our Tiffin buildings. They are working with us to where we don't have to do it all at once. And what we're trying to do is budget for each one of them in the buildings. So that's where we're at. We did the same thing down here at CCE a number of years ago. And that's where Johnson County came in and they tested it and determined we had to have a repeater system in there. Just a lot smaller scale than what we have with our Tiffin buildings.
What makes it building specific instead of a region? Let's say if you have to put one in at Oak Hill or Tiffin Elementary, why not put one somewhere centralized where it would reach, like a single system that would reach between the two buildings?
It's like Wi-Fi mesh in your house, kind of how they're structured. So once an officer goes into a building, it's pretty common in big buildings and hospitals, like the way they're constructed, concrete wall inside concrete wall. Without different Wi-Fi networks, if you're trying to get signal, you're not going to get it. So you put the repeater system inside the building so it can send the signal out of the building if you're inside of it.
We'll have multiple connection points within the building that are transmitting that signal till it finally can get out. So
The FCC also limits the power levels that those repeaters are allowed to do by the license for that spectrum. So sometimes we can't, we simply aren't allowed to broadcast that heavy a signal.
Yep, just like our handheld radios are all governed by the FCC as far as the wattage that they can operate on. So we have problems with our own handheld radios at times that we have to work around. But obviously that's local, and the signal doesn't have to get out to the emergency response teams. So not ideal, but it's what we have to do.
It sounds like all the experts have weighed in and this is necessary. And we'll see more. I mean, it's helpful to hear that there'll be others coming down the pipeline. Because I think otherwise in the future when we see another one, we'll be like, didn't we do this? Or like, so that's good to hear. I guess my only follow-up then is, I'm sure you're all over this, but is there a plan for North Liberty, Coralville, and Iowa County, I guess? I mean, are you going to go into our other buildings?
As of right now, those other buildings, the testing that they've done on them, we've been told that they've been able to get an adequate signal out of them.
Great. Love that.
You know, as technology changes, as your radio systems change, you know, that could change. I'm not saying it can't, but as of right now, we've been told that things are adequate there at the other buildings.
Well, thank you. I mean, I never knew that FCC and all these things played a part in it, but
Yeah.
it's amazing what you guys know, what all is going on behind the scenes here. Other questions from Maury, Kale? No?
It's more. Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item M is to accept a $5,000 donation from the Amana Family Practice Clinic towards the Amana Elementary Magnet Program.
Second.
Any questions, discussion here? I will be abstaining from this vote for conflict of interest reasons.
I would just add, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Again, I'm abstaining from the vote. Motion carries. Item N is to approve board policy revisions, and we have one board policy here. It's 501.15, open enrollment transfers procedures as a receiving district. Yeah, go ahead.
So I did note in my Friday update, basically the revision we made is we had to make a decision. If you get down to the fourth from the very bottom, the last two are only a couple sentences. We had to decide if we wanted to keep it as is. So when it says the resident district is less than 2,000 students, we had to decide that or more. We decided to keep the language the same. The reality is we're not going to make any changes to what we've been doing. As I noted also in my Friday update, this is not something like it doesn't have to go in the consent agenda. We're going to continue to have it in the consent agenda because the board leadership, Allison and Amanda, thought it would be best for the board to be able to view those. In the policy, it doesn't say you have to do that, but we're going to continue that. And the reality for us is even if we have students that are open enrolled into us, we're not going to go in and pick them up in those other. It just most superintendents are on the same page there. It's like even though just because you can doesn't mean you should. And so we want to be a good neighbor. And if that would ever change, then I would come back to you and we could make some changes there. But I don't think you got to be in a thing. So.
Okay, I would entertain a motion then.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, discussion around that? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah. I took a drink of water because we have a lot under review. So item O is to approve board policy review. And I don't know if we've said this before to our newer members, but I have to read every one of the titles aloud to make it official. So bear with me. So first we have 200.01, Organization of the Board of Directors. 200.02, Powers of the Board of Directors. 200.03, Responsibilities of the Board of Directors. 200.04, Board Member Social Media Engagement. 202.05, Student School Board Representatives. 201, Board of Directors Election. 202.01, Qualifications. 202.02, Oath of Office. 202.03, Term of Office. 202.04, Vacancies. 203, Board of Directors Conflict of Interest. 406.05, Licensed Employee Group Insurance Benefits. 406.06, Licensed Employee Tax Shelter Programs. 407.05, Licensed Employee Reduction in Force. And 802.02, Requests for Improvements.
Motion.
Second.
As a reminder, these are all just review because we have to review things every so often. This is a cadence. Any other questions, concerns? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item P is to approve our consent items, which is what is recommended to do.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you for the donations. Always nice to see that list. Any other questions, comments here? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, into our discussion items. We have a couple follow-up topics, things that we brought up in the previous few months or things that have come before Aaron and board leadership via emails. And so we're going to talk about the Amana pool. and that Aaron put together some really nice information that I even learned from, which was great. So I'll hand it over to you.
All right, fantastic. So I wanted to share just all of the parts of what makes up the Amana pool. I was able to learn as well because I just knew some of our students were accessing the pool. This gives you some clean data on, it shows the actual days during a month that we're utilizing it during this school day per se. On top of that, if you go down, it breaks down the costs. It breaks down, the usage outside of school hours and the costs. I was able to visit with multiple people to help me populate this data. Even the potential ways to use the Amana Elementary pool differently. Mr. Moody worked with building principals so they could think about our utilization of it, how we can maximize, because we do have a pool in the district, so that's not something that a lot of districts have. And then of course it's really important to have the operating expenses, so it just shows what our revenue is, what we're spending, and then it breaks it down that way. Specific to overall, I think it's important to note, eventually, as we all know around the table, the boiler is about at its lifespan. I know Maury has, Maury, if I misspeak, please correct me, but I believe the building engineer, the person that's in charge of Amana Elementary, is having to spend some time just making sure our boiler is functioning the way it needs to. There's some extra time being put in there. I admit, every time Maury texts me or calls me, I kind of cringe at first because I don't want it to be the boiler is dead call, because that's going to trigger around, like we've discussed, about a $500,000 price tag. And so I think it's important as a board we start having conversations around when and if that happens, what do we want to look at? I mean, is it something we want to collaborate with Amana? Is it something, what is that process? I just want to open up the board to start having some conversations. We kind of have a game plan in place. And if there's any directive for me to start working with Amana, the Amana Society, or whatever have that look like, so we'd be able to at least know the direction we're going. So,
And I think, Rick, you might know this too. For those who don't know, the pool was donated to the school. It was through, it was built with a donation from George Forstner, who founded Amana Refrigeration.
And his wife, Nora's on there.
Yes, so they I think that's important that their initial build out, I don't know if there was some money from what was Amana, the district at the time, but it was something that the district has because of somebody doing a very generous donation to build a pool there. And it was used a lot more when Gabe and I went to middle school in the Amana building. I hated when we had to swim for PE because I didn't have enough time to do my hair afterwards, but we all, KLU too, we all used it. So I know Brooke has some ideas about ways to, but the other reason I wanted to bring it up is because I know that, as we've alluded to, Tiffin is also going to come to us about money for a pool. And so just thinking about, I think we need to think about, as a board, we balance all these communities, and we may decide to support one pool and not the other, but just knowingly going into the optics of this. The pools are not equivalent, right? That is not the correct size for high school swimming, because it was built so long ago. It was a different competition. It was a different size. So just some more context. I will say the pool party rate seems very low to me, so I'm wondering, and there's somebody who manages the pool, but I'm we should blast that out there. $55 for 2 hours.
I might go run it myself.
I know, you can bring that's a ton of kids. That's insane, but I'm also no wonder we're losing money. So yeah, just some info that I thought be added. I don't know if you have more to add, Rick, about the history of the pool or thoughts on.
The pool was donated, and Mr. Forstner and his wife passed away years ago, and I'll put it publicly. My thought is there's his legacy is still out there with his children and grandchildren, so maybe that would be a source of revenue. So there, I said it.
The other option that I've thought about a little bit, so there was an announcement today about Whirlpool having layoffs for the Amana building. However, the Whirlpool Foundation is separate. It's what the Upton family has made as like similar to our foundation, right? And the biggest thing they support, they actually specifically, I was bummed, specifically don't support schools and curriculums because they want to be more community invested. And so you can also apply through the Whirlpool Foundation for something that supports community. And I think a pool is a great example of that. So that's something we could potentially look into. The new playground that was built in Amana down by, that we saw, was in part, I mean, there's a large amount of money provided by Whirlpool Foundation. I think one thing that would be important though is to think about ways that that's actually going to help benefit families that might work at Whirlpool as well, whether that's like we have some sort of ability to have swim lessons for families, or I don't know, they could come work out. We've talked about that before, like on their lunch break, could Whirlpool employees come swim laps or something like that? But just another avenue to pursue, I think, too.
So if they're not open to donating to schools, would it make more sense for like the Amana Society or somebody else to apply on our behalf?
So they will donate, I think, to the community pool, even though the school holds it. If you can call it, because it's like it operates outside of just school hours, so it's like a community. It's kind of like the library, like it's a community pool. So I think they might, but if not, yes, ASI or somebody else could certainly.
I just don't want them to throw out our application just right off the bat.
Great point. Yeah, I kind of bring that up because we've also, we have other things in the district that would be great for Amana to get funding for. But then I went to the website like 6 months ago and I was like, oh, like they won't like do academic programs and all that sort of stuff because they're very community oriented instead. Yeah. So, thoughts, questions, other.
Sorry, Rick.
TJ Krakow is the director.
He's the current director. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been there a long, long time, and we would get him involved with his pricing, would we not, or would we have? Do we have to? I mean.
Yeah, I mean they're in charge. We don't set the pricing.
Who does?
I think TJ does as the director of the pool. So certainly.
So if he says no, it stays at $3 an hour for a kid. Or,
yeah.
Well, I'm looking at not the group rate, but.
Yes. Yeah, it's up to him, I believe.
Yeah, we're just the fiscal agent. We just handle the money.
Yeah.
We don't have any authority.
We could suggest it.
Most definitely.
Your eyes lit up.
I don't use pool, so
right.
It wouldn't impact me. But
well, it's right there,
and
it's right there on the screen. I wonder what happened in what's happened since 23. 23 to 24,000 revenue.
There was a donation that year. I don't remember who it was from, but there was a significant donation.
Well, and Lori, and that brings up the Amana Foundation. So going back to the pool, it was funded a lot by the Amana VIP golf tournament that went on for years and years. Amana had a huge swim club. I may have done the butterfly in, but anyway. And we had state record holders at age 10 and 12. Don Oaks and these guys were national records. Robert Henry, he said he held the record for one race, then it got beat, my age. So the VIP brought in a ton of money for the swim club. That has been dissolved. The money stopped coming in from the VIP, but the Amana Foundation, Lori showed is holding that money. And years ago, we requested $50,000 for repairs, and they're still sitting on over $30,000 in the Amana Foundation. So, Maury, do you access that money? Are you still here? Is that hard to access? I mean, it's not $500,000.
CCA Foundation.
Yes,
yeah. Okay.
They're. I mean, what is that money sitting there for? I mean, it's not going
to. The pool foundation money.
The Clear Creek Amana Foundation has $30,000 in the pool account.
In the pool account. As far as that goes, the only thing I know of, Rick, is when we did some renovations and upgrades there.
Right.
The foundation did support some of those costs. How we go about, asking for those, contributions or whatever, that wouldn't be a question I could answer for you, but I do know that we have.
You do know the money's there, so.
I know TJ.
Let's get it.
he's put in requests in the past. I don't recall when the last one was, but
He told me, what'd you say?
The last request was for a ladder.
And I'm on another committee with TJ on, for the township, a trustee, and he told me about the ladder, and Maury said I said, Maury, let's get that money from the foundation. He said, well, it's not that much money. The ladder came in, it was damaged, so Maury had to reorder it. So the ladder's coming.
It's here and it's installed. Yeah. So.
So
Sorry.
there's a little bit out there.
Question on the boiler: is this supporting just the pool, or is it the whole building that it's supporting?
Just the pool area. So it could function as heating the pool water, but we have a smaller, way less expensive one just for the water. It's for the space, so the pool space and the locker rooms that are adjacent to it. That's where it would be designated for. The rest of the building functions off its own individual steam boiler. My idea was to tie that into the pool space, but because of anytime you do an improvement or an upgrade, you have to meet ASHRAE standards. All the heating and cooling ventilation standards, you have to bring everything up to meet those. And the pool is a very abrasive atmosphere with the chlorine and things like that. So the equipment is far more expensive for a pool environment. So that is a significant increase in the budget cost for that area. So just the pool environment itself requires a complete different system, so to speak.
So Laurie's saying that we're not operationally responsible for the pool, but just a financial agent. I guess what makes the boiler our responsibility then, I guess.
If that pool was gone,
yeah,
that we still have the space, we have the building envelope.
Yeah.
We have to heat it. So we wouldn't have to have as expensive of equipment, but we still have to provide heating and potentially cooling into the space, but heating for sure.
And this one wasn't on here, I don't think, but actually our middle school practices there right now, or swim team, I think. Doesn't it sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah, I just realized that.
And
So it would affect that. Like, we don't have an alternative pool right now for middle school to practice in. It would also greatly impact if we couldn't have, I mean, the special education use is fantastic for like adaptive PE. I see lots of patients at the university who cannot find anywhere any pools that help individuals with developmental disabilities do therapies, and they have greater gains because you're not fighting gravity. And so I didn't realize how much it was being used for that, but I was really excited about that inclusivity. So I think those are a couple things that would come up if you didn't have the pool.
Do you know how long, well, I know how long you've kept this one going, but like, say we put a brand new one in tomorrow, what's the lifespan? Like, what are we looking at potentially?
I would hope for 20 years.
Okay.
For a boiler, that's typically what you would try to get out of them. I'll brag a little bit. We do a really good job of making sure that we're do a lot of good preventative maintenance and watch over the boilers real closely. The water chemistry that comes into play is crucial, and our team really does a good job. So that can make or break on how the lifespan of this equipment.
When Aaron says he dreads your phone calls, what is your prediction?
That's not personal.
What is your prediction? And I asked a question I know the answer to. How long could you limp this current boiler on? Just a rough
If
estimate.
you say as soon as he says a date, it's gonna go tomorrow.
That's right, but he's told me before.
For 5 years. So
5 more years, maybe. Yeah, maybe not. So when that happens, though, when that happens, I really think we should look into. I know residential pools, backyards. A lot of people are using salt, and I don't know if it's possible. There's a lot of changes, but I don't know if you can do that on a regulation-sized pool. But salt would eliminate our chlorine issues.
Mm-hmm.
That's another conversation later on.
Yeah, you still have the humidity.
Right.
You still do have some sort of chemical that's required.
Being indoor, I guess residentials are outdoor,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter so much,
You
so.
know, the building, that part of the building was built in, opened up in '68.
Yeah,
Nothing would meet current standards as
Okay.
far as ventilation is concerned. I mean, it's adequate and it does a good job. That pool, when you walk into that space, in my opinion, it's one of the cleanest environments for an indoor pool that I've been around. The crew does an exceptional job, and it was built really well back in the day, but it just wouldn't meet current standards.
okay.
So those would all have to come up to current code.
And I think Seth Grazer is responsible for some of the great upkeep.
He does a fantastic job.
Okay.
Absolutely fantastic.
So I feel like what I heard is Rick, you talked to TJ. So
Mhm.
maybe you can talk to TJ about like just figure out what they're doing to
I'll-
reduce that
I'll-
deficit.
I'll take that to him.
The deficit. And then it sounds like you know some of the legacy
Yeah.
Forstner people.
That's a good word, like, that's the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for.
We could of course
I
approach
wish I had
ASI
a,
as
I
well.
wish I had a PhD to know those words. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I also like, again, because it's a community pool, we're not incorporated, there's no like taxing that can go like towards the
Right.
pool. Not like the way like Tiffin or North Liberty or whatever has.
Get it on the library tax, put it on there.
Oh yeah, we have talked
Good
about
going.
actually like an endowment fund for the pool, like somebody brought up endowment for the pool, library stuff.
Mhm.
So I think like if you did get bigger donors, that's what it should actually go to. It's not like we need this much for the boiler, but like let's start an endowment where we can also start getting interest and such. So
Great idea.
thank you. So I heard like a lot of Rick is gonna work on it.
Sure, I take over your boards in Iowa County and library, might as well put more on me. Because I can't make executive meetings.
I will look into the Whirlpool Foundation, and then maybe TJ could actually submit it on behalf of the community pool potentially.
Okay.
So, but those are some things, yeah.
From our standpoint, it would if we were to just pay for it, it would come from Pepple. Is that right?
Pepler Save.
That's the big thing. I mean, Maury, Laura, and I meet monthly just to be able, because again, it'd be nice if just getting some indication of where we need to be, and maybe that will come after Rick has some conversations.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can have those conversations before something
Should
happens.
we be starting to bank?
But we would just need to prioritize that. Of course, Maury does a great job, Lori, and then if those two work together. I'm getting caught up to speed, meeting monthly with them on what our past plans have been and where we're at now, but it's just important we can game plan for it, make some changes on how we're gonna utilize those dollars.
We would have the money available in either fund. It'd just be then there'd be other projects that
It wouldn't be
wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Other purchases.
You know, some of it, I guess when I saw like the trend and the deficit increasing, I think for the whole district view, to me, I would like to see a business plan that's addressing that. Otherwise, I don't want this to be continually like, the district gets great use out of it. I love how it's being used. And also it'd be nice to see the business plan or what the plan is long-term for keeping more of a surplus in the pool operating expense.
It's been negative since I've been here, so
Yeah.
that will be a large task.
Yeah, that might be like the
The
endowment,
usage
but
alone, yeah.
Pools are not cheap,
Nope.
no, they're not.
and the upkeep is super expensive, obviously.
But just seeing if there's creative ways just even to reduce that or hold steady or something. Okay.
This is just the boiler for the conditioned space of the pool.
And the adjacent locker rooms.
To heat the water, it's probably a $50,000 boiler.
No, less than 20. When we put that in, it was 12,000 at that time.
Okay.
It's
Thank you.
just not near the scale as what the actual space requires.
Sure. Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then-
Hopefully Aaron will take my calls without being very.
So then
I'll always take them.
Going to the Tiffin pool eventually when that comes up, and if we would want to contribute to that, would that also still be Pebble and Save? Even though it's not on our site, it would. Okay.
Yeah. And there's lots of creative ways that could be, an agreement could be drafted. Could, be over a 10-year period. It could be we like rent the space. There's just, that would take legal guidance, but there's very numerous numbers of agreements throughout the state that make that happen.
Again, we'd be paying for our portion to make it a competition pool. The city of Tiffin is paying for that.
Correct.
But
the base.
To make it a competition pool, there's just some added expenses there. So
I think some additional lanes maybe.
What was?
But I would bring that to you when I have that.
Do you remember the estimate though that it was that they came to? It was like $4 million from us. Yeah. Just. I know it was at least $2 million that they came to us with that they would like.
Building the phase 1, I believe, was $4 million, and to add the pool.
It was like.
Might have to go through it. I mean, construction costs probably go crazy now.
My
so.
conversation,
that
I
was
believe
in
it was
2020.
1.5 to 2 in my conversation with Doug was what our investment.
For our
would be.
share.
Yeah.
So 1.5
For
to
us,
2 for that, and that was mainly talking about like the high school swim team. So I mean,
that was just for to make it a competition pool.
Right.
Again, not paying for the work, because again, CCA should not be paying for a pool the rec center's putting in. It should be to pay for the competition portion of it. But again, I don't have those numbers in front of me. I have to remember.
yeah, but yeah, just I mean,
Just throwing it out there.
yeah, it was like I remember being at least a couple like around a couple mil. So I was like, whoa.
And that was the longer it goes.
Yeah.
I think it's the earliest would be 2030 is when they would be breaking ground on phase 2. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to know the logistics of how it.
Yeah, where it come from? Good question. Any other questions, discussion here? This way, when the boiler goes out, because it will, you've had a little bit of knowledge ahead of time. We're trying to stay ahead of these things.
Cool. Yeah, I'll bring it back to you when I get that call from Warren.
Now I'm not going to want to take calls from you. Okay.
Okay.
The next one is the district land inquiry. So this came before Aaron actually in the fall, and there was a question about, he can speak more to it, but at the time we were all like, no, like we're just getting up and running this year, like there's a lot going on, we're getting acclimated, check back maybe in the spring, and so this individual did reach back out. So
And so if you click on the map, it kind of shows, in essence, the snapshot, and this is the information he sent me. We'd have to do, Laura and I would have to do a lot of legwork if and when the board would decide to move forward with this. And I am not saying we need to go I just think it's important we have a conversation now that he's reached out twice. Approximately 5.1 acres is noted, and then as much as the other 2.6 to the west in the design. The big things to think about, I understand we do not want to get in the business of just giving up land that the district has purchased on a whim. We need to make uniformed decisions based on data. A couple things we do know is the city of Oxford does not have the infrastructure to be able to do what would be needed for us to be able to build on that site. And so that, I do not see that changing. The thing that would change that is if all of a sudden there was a lot of growth in Oxford and they had more income coming in for the city to be able to invest in it. I'm not saying the time is right, but again, when you look at the value, and that's again from the information he gave, we have not vetted that to see if that is the accurate numbers. Again, if we're not going to use the land, I think it's important to at least bring it up for discussion for us as a board to be able to not make a decision, but be able to talk through what some potential options would be, or if a time comes up where we would be more inclined to say yes or no. So I told the gentleman that reached out that we would be bringing it for discussion, no action items for now, and then I would be able to follow up with him after tonight.
And so just be like a part, we still have lots of other land that you could build on. The part we discussed, thanks, Kale.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
why I was
bigger
at.
picture, yeah, compared to where we're at
So
right
at that
now.
purple dot, or
You are right here.
Okay, and it is that purple
That's
dot.
correct.
Yeah, and so that it's so the like if you
Square it off.
Yeah, if you squared it off, and that back corner, it sounds like Maury, others have said it's not like I think there's a creek in there.
It's not conducive to.
It's not.
so where are you at, Kale? Where's that dot?
You're in the corner, so it's seated right here.
That's the land he wants?
So no, he wants
Yeah,
this.
Right,
So
which
we go
is,
like this.
We own all of the.
We own all
that's
this.
that 100 we talked about?
Yeah, and so it would be selling this portion, and it's we believe
Where's,
we're over here.
and where's Ruger's or those houses?
Yeah, over here. The rivers are over here.
Okay.
That area goes.
There's those ponds, yeah, there's two
Yeah.
ponds there.
And so one thing too that we believe it's that the family wants other family members to build there, or like they want to have a house there, another family member.
It could be
Which,
kids.
That's what I said. Okay, so yeah, and then Lori mentioned some financial potential pros. That could be money.
Yeah, we used revenue bonds. We issued revenue bonds to pay for this land back when we bought it, and we're still paying on those revenue bonds. So, you know, that money would probably go to pay that earlier, depending on the amount and how much. I mean, I don't know how much longer we have to. There would be more details that you could definitely get, but.
So that's kind of information. We'd still have that big chunk if Oxford infrastructure ever expanded and we wanted to build something. That chunk they want would not be used really, it sounds like, anyways, in building on the bigger chunk because it's not conducive to it. So that's the information we have, but like what questions do people have?
I just said it to him earlier individually about just making sure we do it properly if we do explore it, but obviously we would, like making sure if we have to put it for competitive bidding or
there'd be a lot of
open to
steps.
other
Yeah, it would
people
have
and
to
all
be
of that
appraised
stuff.
and.
But yeah, I mean,
The way it sits up there, it almost seems like it makes sense to sell that piece, you know?
and again, if we pay bonds down with it, why not?
Yeah. Gabe, that's a great point. I didn't think about that. Maybe somebody else wants it. So that's very good thought.
I would not even bring it up as a recommendation, or at least even a discussion item if I thought if it was asking for that entire piece. I don't think that would be a good decision for us.
No.
Because we don't know, I mean, depends on growth and how quickly everything's, again, infrastructure wise, I don't see anything us being able to build there, so it'd probably be something eventually that will come back. But it is a very small piece.
And we rent that land for farming, but that wouldn't impact, like, I mean, it would impact the rental agreement some, but like, it's not like they're farming right up to that creek or anything. I mean, like.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maury may know
Maury would know better.
Maybe the 2.6, but not
Yeah.
the
They don't
5.1,
farm in that
because
section,
looks
do
like
they?
CRP.
No, they just
That's
come
what I
down a
thought.
little bit. Right
Yeah,
down through
that's
there.
kind of what I
as far
thought
as
it
they
looked
go.
like to do.
Okay,
that's
so it
a
wouldn't
major
like
parcel.
deter our renter of that land from wanting to continue to rent there.
And we would reach out to them, of course, just
Yes.
to be a good partner, but it would transfer we do pay taxes on that piece of land because it's not being used for an educational purpose. So it would transfer that piece of the property taxes to that potential landowner versus the district. That would be another financial impact.
So I guess I personally am in favor of exploring this further. I think that this family is going to come back to us every 6 months until we
Seems
realize
that
it's
way.
worth it. Which I mean, I understand wanting to be close to family. I'm near my family, and so it seems like exploring it and continue to see what would be the pros or if there's any cons might be helpful.
I think that makes more sense.
Okay.
Excellent.
We will start that process.
Great. Okay. Do you how about the road at all?
The email I sent?
Yeah.
Yeah, so and Maury, you can jump into, the question brought up is, it looks like the timeline for the North Parkway.
Park Road?
North Park Road, thank you, as the new person here, give me a little grace. To
Does
the
it have a
community,
tunnel,
but
though?
they are moving, they're moving the timeline up, thank you Maury for coming up to save me. Moving the timeline up, sounds like they're gonna be starting March 1st? March 2nd, and there's a potential that, and I'll let you go Maury, but there's potential starting in June, right when kiddos get out, that they may have to periodically block off the Oak Hill entrance. I know you got some more information though, that's gonna be limited at least.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be impactful for our families, buses. Again, it was sure nice when that opened up and we can go back to from March till what, beginning of August is their time frame?
Yeah.
Anything you'd wanna add there?
Just on our entrance going into Oak Hill and the transportation center, they are required to keep, emergency access into that entrance. It just depends on how they phase it. I would assume they would probably just take, because they have to come into our entrance just a little bit to tie everything in. I would assume they'll keep half of our entrance open, just so they don't have to put in a separate access road for us. But that'll be entirely up to them, but they are required to keep access open for us through there.
So last year though, it was like, you could get to, Tiffin's closer to Highway 6, you could get to Tiffin from Highway 6, but Oak Hill you had to go around. And so we had this thing where, especially with like K1, 2, 3, parents were like not able to go through. But is it different this year? I thought in the email, but I must have read it wrong. Is it now you're gonna be able to get to both from 6 for a while?
Yes, you'll be able to get to both buildings from Highway 6 until school is out.
Okay.
And then they want to close off the Oak Hill entrance, but they still have to keep something open for us for emergency access.
Right.
So them saying they want to close it off, that's where I'm going back and forth with the city on that. Because they can't just shut us off.
Yeah, with people that work in the building.
Yeah, we people that work there. Although for parent drop off, that's gonna reduce hopefully the issue. Last year we had people taking that bus shortcut from building to building because they couldn't do both buildings.
They had the middle shut off completely.
Yes, so now they are able to, like, you can drop your kid at Tiffin, go back out, go up a little further, drop at Oak Hill. Okay, that's a little better than last year.
Yeah. As far as for staff during the summer, it won't be an issue for us because we put a little service road in there that connects them. But we don't want that for normal traffic.
Right.
Staffing wise it'll be fine, but if we have any programs or things like that, we'll need to have some sort of access open.
Okay.
Champions was looking at wanting to use
Oak Hill?
Oak Hill. They used North Bend last year, but it's not the best because North Liberty already has access and they're using the gym, and so they really want gym space.
But they don't want Tiffin?
Tiffin Elementary is not the best spot this year because we're going to have movement of the preschool in, and I'm trying to alleviate some of that. And so Oak Hill
Eastridge
would make sense.
And Coralville has that.
Okay, never mind.
So we're working through some of
It's like you guys already thought of these things.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as long as we have access to be able to get in throughout the summer, I think it makes most sense for Champions to utilize Oak Hill.
Okay.
And I'll work on more details as we get.
I appreciate that, and I'll forward it on.
Yeah, and I'm sure Lori will be all over communicating out to, Lori Hammond will be communicating to people.
Yes.
Starting Thursday.
I knew it. Great.
Thanks, Maury.
Thanks, Lori. Okay, so next meeting topics, we'll be diving into staff negotiations more and getting more budget updates as we get closer to needing to certify our budget, and maybe feeling like we're confident in an SSA amount. Other things that people have on their mind they'd want to make us aware of for planning our next meetings? Okay, well, who would like to do the honors?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.